Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Abundance Tree Podcast. I'm your host, Janice Luke, and I'm here with my co-host,
April Capri.
April. How's it going?
It's going good, girl. How are you?
I'm doing good. You look nice, as always. I always tell you that. That's true.
Oh, girl, and you be lying now.
No,
Thank you
no,
so much. I
of
am having
course.
a very relaxed day today. You look nice as well as always, though, girl.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So, who do we have the pleasure of speaking with tonight?
Oh, wow. We have something really fun in store for you guys. So, we have a multi-talented individual who wears many hats with a plum. Not quite sure what that is. I'll let him tell you what that is. So, as a serial entrepreneur, an engineer, and a marketing specialist, he's also a talk show host and the president of his local chamber of commerce. He embodies a diverse skill set. His passion for inspiring individuals of all ages to discover their passion shines through his work. He is renowned for his engaging personality and wealth of knowledge. He ignites curiosity and enthusiasm for self-discovery, human connection, and the wonders of science. You can witness his captivating experiments on his YouTube through Science Fridays or explore his myriad creations through BelieveMeachieve.com. Recognizing diverse learning styles, he prides himself on being a dynamic educator, and he is adept at teaching through auditory, visual, and kinesthetic approaches. We have John C. Morley, the serial entrepreneur, truly
Oh,
living up to his name because he does about everything in the book.
awesome.
Yes,
We
he
have
does a
John.
lot.
Where are you at, John? There you are. Hey, John.
The
How are you,
serial
Janice? How are you, April?
entrepreneur.
We're
How are
doing
you
well.
today?
Doing
Doing well.
good. How are
Thank you for
you?
coming on.
Well, it is a privilege, a pleasure, and honor to spend some time with you wonderful ladies and your great audience tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
So we've already made our introductions as John C. Morley, the serial entrepreneur. So let us know
Yes.
your story. Tell us your journey, whatever,
So
wherever you want to start.
yeah, my story or my journey is basically, obviously I went to school. I have my engineering degree. I have other credentials as well. I went back to get a bachelor's in education. I've also studied hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming. I took the Silva method and all that other stuff. I became very obsessed with understanding that the body is no more, ladies, than just a language. So I did coding on computers. Um, we have instructions for everything in life, but there's no instructions for our body. And our body uses language to process things. So I said, I really want to learn how the body operates. How do you manifest something? And the thing that really got me kind of curious, I should say, is the fact that, you know, our mind, our subconscious mind, runs our body. 95 to 98% is roughly where the subconscious runs. The other 3% is just your conscious. So that means your subconscious mind is very influential on your conscious mind. You've been programmed at birth. A lot of times, maybe you're saying something, and I always say you have to watch your language. Now, I've heard that before, but some people, have you ever maybe gotten up in the morning and maybe you stubbed your toe? Or maybe you broke a glass, right? In the kitchen, you were in a rush and you broke that orange juice glass that was a family heirloom or whatever. And first thing people would do is they would say some choice words, which is
Right.
not the right thing to do, and they would get more angry, and then they'd spill it on their shirt, they'd spill it on their pants. So typically this is how it normally works. They'll break the glass, they'll say some curse words, they'll get the glass, clean it up, say some more complaints. Now they'll mess up, they'll have to re-pour the cereal or their breakfast, and then they'll have to get dressed again because orange juice is all over their shirt and their pants. Now with all this extra time they've wasted, they don't have a lot of time to get to work. Plus, there's traffic now. So it becomes more compounding. But it
Mhm.
gets better because now when you get to work, you suddenly hear that the person who was going to hire you got there early for this big account, and your boss and everybody's there, and you decide, you get there, you don't even call because you figure there's no purpose. Well, this guy decided to show up, but he's a half hour early. but he never called the office to say that he's going to be running behind or anything. And so then you hear out of the big client's mouth, well, frankly, if this is how you run your own personal affairs, we're really scared with how you're going to be managing our project. I don't think you're somebody we want to work with, nor your company. Now you got this big blow that was handed to you, like, what do you do? So you notice you just kind of spiral down and down and down. That's called a spiral, down, 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 down. So just like the person that kicks their toe in the morning or stubs their toe and they say those choice words and then they go to take a shower and then they burn their back because, oh, the water's too hot. Or then they do it and they spiral down. So when something happens, we've all had something happen, like a glass break or we knock something over, or we even hit our arm or our leg or something. It happens. First thing I say is, you might say, ouch. Oh, okay. All right. Gotta rub that. That's better. The rest of my day is gonna be great. I broke a glass. So what? I hit my leg. So what? I ran into the wall. So what? Like, just the rest of my day is gonna be great. And it's that perception, because see, it's our perception that shapes our reality. So when you're talking about journeys, when I was in college, the first college, I was head of finance. I was actually the vice president of finance. So I was the person people would come to decide whether they were going to get their money or not for the frat parties and things like that. And my question to them would always be, so you want an extra $500? What's the $500 for? Well, we need a few more kegs. A few more kegs. Yeah. Why don't you figure out something like useful to do with your party that can help the community? Come back to me, and then maybe we can talk about it. And he goes, well, we want to provide refreshment. No. So what I wanted was something that could involve the community, that could like bring people together. So I started learning, how to manage money at a very young age. And so I remember, beside being the person that signs up on the checks, I remember then running to become president of presidential council. So to tell you how creative I was, there was a position called president of the school. Now, I wasn't going to become president because that was hard, right? There was this lady, she was very well liked. I even tried to talk to her, and that just was going nowhere. It was very political. But I decided that I either have to, join in or I have to leave. And I said, how can I join in when I don't feel like I have a purpose here? I said, I need to create a new position. And I need to take Julie out to lunch. Simple lunch at the cafeteria. Hey, Julie, listen, you're doing a tremendous job. Listen, I would like to create a new position for Student Association, and I need your support. Could I get your vote? Oh, yeah, sure, John. What is it? Well, what's it called? It's called Presidential Council. It just basically manages the council stuff. Oh, well, that sounds cool. Did you write? I say, I did. I wrote a 5-page. Oh, well, that's great. We'll put it on the agenda. She never read it, never did anything. Everyone in the room, okay, voted for it except for my friend. He did not vote for it. But still, with a 22-1, I still won. And they asked me to leave the room because they said, first of all, before they did the vote, they said, well, do you know someone that, would be good for this position? I said, funny you should ask that. I was thinking about nominating myself, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, well, that's a really ingenious idea. So you create the position and you're not, I said, I'm going to nominate myself. Can I do that? Absolutely. Now I already had checked to make sure I could. So I was like being very like Columbo, like, as the guy on TV, what's his name? A monk, he's always washing his hands 5 million times. And, he goes back to the guy and says, excuse me, April. So I had a question. Where were you last night at 7:32? Because by the time you got from school to here, that wouldn't have given you enough time to get back home. And that means that you would have had to make another, so you get my point. Anyway, I was then entrusted with giving 2 checks to this person. Our school was mostly a suitcase school, but we decided to bring an entertainer in. $40,000. 2 checks, $20,000 each. And they said, John, we want you to present this check to this guy. And I said, okay. So I'm like saying, wait, oh, don't worry about it. We've already approved it. It's already been signed. You just have to present them. I still want to know what we're paying $40,000 for 90 minutes. I want to do a little research on this guy. So I did, and I found out what he did. He was a stage hypnotist. And I saw what he did in other schools, how he embarrassed people and all these different things.
Yeah, I
So
remember those.
I got the guy before we started. I got there nice and early with the rest of my team, and I said hi, whatever his name was at the time, and I said I want to thank you so much for coming out here, but I said I want to be honest with you. I did my homework on you, so I know you're an author, you publish things, and I also know you go around to schools. He said you have done your homework, yes, and you make a fool out of people. You bring them on stage because they've been entranced, and you use this lemon. I said, let me be very clear with you. All right. You're not going to embarrass me or anybody in this whole front row that's sitting here in administration. All right. And if you do, this first check I'm handing you, it will bounce so high you won't even see it hit the sky. And if you don't care about that, forget about the second check because it's not even going to enter your hemisphere. And I said, if money doesn't bother you, because I know you have so much of it, I'm friends with the school association and the traveling connection between old schools, Harvard, Yale, Princeton. I could go on and on. And I know you're booked at all these different schools. Don't be surprised if a week before each presentation, the association calls you and says they'd like to cancel, not reschedule.
Mhm.
I said, do I make myself clear? He says, Crystal. I said, well, let's have a great show, sir. I sat back. And he embarrasses the whole back audience. I'm up there. I said, I said, I've really enjoyed your show. I said, here's your second check. I'm actually going to recommend to our administration, maybe we bring you on a second time next year. So that got me curious. I bought his book. And then I decided to get involved with the Silva method. I got involved with neurolinguistic programming. I wanted to learn hypnosis. And I wanted to really learn how the mind worked. That's a story for a whole other day. But my point is that this got me into a mind frame that I could do anything. As I had said once before, Henry Ford said, if you believe you can't do something, you're right. And I believe you can, you're also right. So why is it that some people just don't do things right? Well, it's because they're brainwashed. When they were younger, their parents say, "Oh, we're never gonna have any money. We're not gonna have any money." Money doesn't grow on trees. So I tell people this, and they think I'm nuts. I said, "Well, I know what your parents have told you. Money does grow on trees if you're patient."
Put the work in. Yep.
Got to plant the right seed.
You got to
Yeah.
plant the right seeds, and those blessings will come forth. But I think a lot of times people try to do that. Let's say they try to deceive people, and this is why salespeople have got a bad name. They try to do what's best for their pocket. I tell people, no matter what industry that I'm talking to them about, whether it's my marketing, advertising company, video, or whether it's my IT company, I say, look, this is what we need to do. This is what you have now. What do you want to change? And then they tell me, these are our problems. So do you really want to fix what's wrong? They look at me like, oh, because if you don't want to fix it, there's no point in us spending any more time with you.
Mhm.
And so it doesn't bother me if somebody doesn't want to fix something. That's their own business. But what I won't do is waste my time with somebody if they don't at least know or have the passion that they want to make that change. So,
Right.
I'm sorry, again.
Oh, just quick question. How do you incorporate the hypnosis in, assisting, like helping your clients and,
So that's a great question.
Okay.
So, more in the coaching it happens.
Okay.
But I do use it in a type of questioning. In the way I interview people and the type of wording I use, because there's certain words that can make people feel comfortable, can open up the mind, where other words can shut things down. For example, when I ask somebody a question, I'll never ask you a yes or no question if I'm interviewing. I will say, so I understand you've been working on this for a while, and tell me, what types of challenges are you going through? I won't ask, do you have any challenges?
Mhm.
I know you have challenges. Explain what those challenges are like. I dissect what we call the mind map. When you go buy a car, for example, there's a formula when you buy or lease a car. that everyone has. And it's different depending on who you are. Something we heard, something we saw, something we felt. And then trying to understand that and replay that without reusing the person's words, but getting them to experience that same situation. This is why, if you remember a while back, there were 3 basketball teams. And the one basketball from the same team, but 3 groups. And there was an experiment done in school. One group practiced every day, okay? And they did well. The second group didn't practice at all, which you could assume they probably just got worse. The third team didn't practice every day. They went to silent study and they practiced in their mind. And at the end of the study, the people that practiced in their mind and the people that practiced in the gym did about the same. Because when you activate the mind, your neurons and dendrites actually fire. So this is why in our world, we have to create things first in our mind, and then we create them in life. So creation and manifestation in its very pure sense is a 2-step process. Create it up here and then in the world. But if we want to go deeper than that, it starts here, okay? But it doesn't build here. So this is where the idea comes around. Now, one thing I want to share with you is we got the brain, we got the heart. The brain has connections to the heart, but the heart has 5 times more connections for every 1 connection. The brain has the heart has the brain.
Wow.
So that intrigued me. So that means that the brain is really not the CFO of your body, the company. Your heart is. So what we have to do is we have to take that thought, say, hey, thought, do me a favor, did you go down to the heart? Get the heart to put that thought out. So now you got to feel that thought. Neville Goddard said something a very long time ago, and I love him. Act as though the wish is already fulfilled. Feel
that makes sense.
it's already happened. And so that might sound challenging from what's on the outside. But if you keep, up with that, it's going to change you on the inside, and that's going to affect the outside. So people can see how you respond. They can feel the energy around you. And certain people, they just don't want to leave you. It's like they just want to be with you. And that's an energy. And so when your heart is able to feel something, the heart is the manifester of your creations. But most people close their eyes like, oh, all right, I got to manifest $1 million. All right. All right. I can see the $1 million.
I tried, it doesn't work.
It does not work.
No.
So what you're saying is like visualize the success, right? And
so visualize the success is fine to start, but nothing's going to happen. It's going to be like if I put a picture on your screen, okay, and I turn the sound off, okay, and maybe I took the color, went to black and white, so there's no color. It's not going to have a lot of impact on you, is it? Especially if I turn the sound off. So we got to get the heart involved, okay? So we have to think it, then feel it, then manifest it. Think it, feel it, manifest it. And this goes for everything in life. It could be a relationship. It could be anything. And
that makes sense, because the passion has to be there.
Yes,
where the heart is.
Feel it gets skipped.
Exactly. And this goes into the whole thing that I'm very passionate about is business owner, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. And you'll say to me, John, what's the difference? Those are just very fancy, complicated words. Not really. So a business owner is where everybody starts, right? You start with a business. You try to keep the lights on. You stay in compliance with the state, the government, right? You just try to bring customers and clients in. And you just do everything because you just want to make money, but you just do everything very haphazard because you're just like so thrown around that you have to make money. You accept every deal, even if it's not a good deal for you, you still accept it. And so the people in business either become more successful in business and they change, or they go out of business in 1 to 3 years. So a business owner if he or she has a passion. Okay, so a hobby can become a business should never become a hobby. Okay, so if they are passionate about that, they graduate to becoming an entrepreneur. Okay, they lead that business because of a purpose, because of something they feel in their heart. Okay, serial entrepreneurs feel. Serial entrepreneurs want to do what's best for the client. Okay, they want to do what's best for the company, and lastly, they want to do what's best for themselves as a representative. If all three people don't win, somebody loses, somebody gets unhappy, and the relationship's going to break. If the consultant's unhappy, what's going to happen? He's going to leave the company and not want to do sales anymore. If the customer's not happy or client, what's going to happen? They're not going to want to buy from that company anymore. If the company's not happy, they're losing money, there's other issues, they're going to want to either fire the salesperson or get rid of the customer.
Right. That makes a
So
lot
there's
of
got to
sense.
be a triple win. Now, if you should notice, such as I did in my IT company, that nobody could market my business, even before the company was started, nobody could market my business. And 15 years ago, I said, this is a problem. People say, oh, John, you'll never market. You're not an advertiser. You're not of this. You're not of that. Now, I believed them for a while, which is the first dumb thing I did. And so I said, I need to stop listening to other people and listen to my own advice for once. And so now that I believe that, I'm like, okay, that's great, John. That's ingenious. But how do you do this? That's real smart, Sherlock. I mean, how do you start a company? I don't know. Let's see. Well, what are they doing wrong? Well, I don't know. For starters, they can't print on a paper bag or an envelope properly. So I would say they can't print. They're terrible at customer service. They lie about everything. And they just don't seem to care about my business. Okay, so now I got my answer. They don't know how to print. So maybe I should start and open a mom and pop print shop first. But I don't know how to do that. I have no idea. So Xerox had been around for a while, and we had been a client of theirs for a while. And so I went to them, I called them up, and I said, hey, guys, how do I become a mom and pop print shop? They said, John, it's really easy. They said, it's just $150. I reached into my pocket. I gave him $150. He looks at me. He says, no, John, 150,000. You said 150. Well, we talking thousands and millions. I said, oh. So I said, I'm going to have to go to my bank. Oh, yeah, do whatever you have to do. Meanwhile, they took me out to lunch. They took me out to dinner. They wined, they dined me. I was just falling in love with this machine. And then they share the price tag. And I went to the bank and I decided to apply for the loan. And the bank says, yes. And I said, what did you say? Yes. When did you want to take the money? I said, I thought the bank was supposed to stop you from doing stupid things this way. We think it's a great idea. So they gave me the 150, but I decided to make my first serial entrepreneur move. So I'll define what that is in a minute. So I said, I'm going to tell them that I only got 130,000. I'm going to take 20,000 and invest it into resources of the company. I go back to Xerox, call them up. I go over there. I said, hey, guys, I got some good news and the bad news. What do you want to know first? Well, the good news is I got the loan. Oh, great. Bad news is my credit wasn't as good as I expected. I thought I was a lot better on my credit. I only got 130,000 as opposed to 150. Oh, I said, so, I don't want to waste any more of your time. What do I owe you for like the lunch and the dinner? Is it like $100? What do I owe you? I want to just pay you back because I appreciate it. And again, I knew what I was doing. I reached for my wallet. No, have a donut, have a bagel. I said, what do I owe you? Have like the bill? I want to just pay you back for the lunch and the breakfast. I appreciate it. Have a donut, have a coffee. Yeah, just sit a minute. So meanwhile, I'm short. He goes like to the car salesman. He goes to the guy in the corner. They close the door and they're talking with their hands for like 5-10 minutes. I'm eating my Danish and they come back out. Mr. Morley, you are in luck.
Of course.
Excuse me. You're in luck today. Sound like you said that I'm in luck. You are, sir. They're rolling out a very special plan next week. We're not even supposed to talk about it, but we want to help you today. It doesn't even come out till Monday.
Mm.
It's a $20,000 rebate on paper. Yeah. For this machine or anything higher. So what do you want to do? I said, I think I'm gonna go home. It's Friday. I'm gonna need to sleep on this for a day or two. I'll come back on Monday. So I had a hunch they were gonna do that. I came back and he goes, "You're all set?" I said, "Well, I was thinking about this and I was very close to saying yes." What do you mean very close? You see, you guys have been great to me and I appreciate everything you've done, but I can't take this machine from you, even with the $20,000 rebate. Well, why not? Well, I'm an engineer, but I don't know anything about printing equipment and electronic for imaging. I know nothing about it. And I know from your catalog, the training's an extra 20 or 30 grand. So I think I probably should just save my money and come back when I can afford the machine and the training. He looks at me, he says, you want a donut or a bagel? You want a biscuit? You want some fruit? No, I'm good. Have a cup of tea, have a coffee, tea, and I'll be right back. He goes run over to him. He does a whole bunch of hand gestures, comes out 10 minutes later, smiling. This is your lucky day. I said, excuse me? Well, I forgot to tell you something on Friday. Not only are we doing the $20,000 on paper, but it comes with 40 hours of free training, which is a $32,000 value.
Okay.
So you basically are learning how to do business by doing it, right? You already knew how to negotiate.
So I said to him, okay, so this is the number, and I was like getting ready to do it, but I was just making sure I wasn't right. So you want to sign something? Well, not quite yet. Let me just make sure I understand the numbers quick. So this is this. There's no interest for this many years. This is the support. This is this. This is the training. This includes the delivery. There's no anything. This is the taxes all put in, and that's it. 130. That's the total number. There's no other hidden numbers or charges or fees. No, that's it. Plus the click charge, whatever the click charge was, per month, you have to pay that. So I went over the click charge for the black and for the color, and I thought it was a little high, and I got him to lower the color a little bit, and I said, I think I'm ready to move forward. He goes, you drive a hard bargain. I said, well, I'm a frugal business owner. I said, I'm just trying to be profitable. So I signed the paperwork, and in 2 weeks, they deliver the machine, which in my case happened to be 2 weeks. That was the second week of January. Now, they wanted delivered by December, but I wasn't ready to take a machine in December, have it sitting on my books, and then not being using it. So if they delivered in January, I wouldn't have had to make the next payment until February. They didn't like that, but
Makes sense. Makes sense.
yeah. So they didn't quite like that, but they went along with the deal. And then I failed for 2 years. And I started getting very passionate about creating all kinds of things, from business cards that we print all in-house, flyers, banners, posters, booklets, brochures. We have a whole subline, mugs, T-shirts, caps, which our division does. So our whole thing is we want to print, and this year we're going to be adding laser pen printing in-house. So we'll be able to laser engrave pens. So my whole thing was that whatever we do, even if it's done on a small level, we've got to do it with quality, and we got to control it in-house. This year we launched making custom cards. So we send our customers birthday cards on their birthday.
Awesome.
Not a Hallmark card,
Nice.
a card that we designed, and we personalize, and we send it out on their birthday.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So to me, it was about doing the right thing. But then after we failed for the 2 years, I was like, I really want to create content. I really want to, get my passion out into the world. People are like, John, you're nuts. So I started getting back to my passion of video production. Started bringing interns in to start helping me produce videos. And we continued with that journey. And I just realized that I'm very passionate about content. I said, well, I like writing too. I like directing. I like editing. Maybe I should send my work to international press. So they're probably not going to accept it, but hey, it's worth a shot. So I sent the application in, and I think it was 2 or 3 weeks after I sent it in. Didn't hear from myself. They probably weren't interested. About the end of the month, I got an email back. Mr. Morley, this is Shauna from International Press. We are pleased to inform you that we feel your work is exemplary, and we would be very honored to make you a member of the International Press Association as a registered press agent for the internationally.
Oh,
Nice.
So I was like, okay. I was like, what does this cost? And the fee was very minimal, but they had to vet you because I basically gave them my work, and I write roughly around 1,500 to 3,000. Well, I read it between roughly 2,000 and 3,000 words a week. So I've written close to 450,000 words in the last year or so.
wow.
So I love to
Congratulations on
create,
that.
thank you. I love to create content. IFYL, which is my flagship show. I have a tech show, but the IFYL show came out later than the tech show, but the IFYL show is growing faster than my tech show. I think because it's on every single day. The other show's only on Fridays. And there's more reason to get guests on IFYL, Inspirations for Your Life. Then I did a
Okay.
radio show, and I just love the idea of taking this and, getting it out there. And I think the biggest challenge when people think about motivation or think about stuff is that, they get stuck. And I say, it's not a question of if you're going to get stuck. It's not a question of, April, Janice, whether we're going to run a challenge. It's not a question. We're all going to run into a challenge. Okay. It's how we as people decide to respond to that situation that defines and shapes our character of who we are, who we're becoming, and how people will choose to interact with us. We always said you can't change others. We can change ourselves. When we
Yeah.
change ourselves, other people change. There was a great quote from Dr. Dwayne Dyer. You might remember Dr. Dwayne Dyer, amazing guy. I followed him for many years. Well, he died recently.
No.
And his mentor was Patanjali's, who died as well. But he taught him this phrase. And the phrase is, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And I'll give you an example. If I was to ask you, ladies, what color car do you drive? Not the model, but what color car do you drive?
Brown.
What's that? What color?
Brown.
Brown. Okay. So if I asked you, are there a lot of brown cars on the road by you?
Probably. I haven't noticed.
Okay.
More than
Tomorrow,
likely,
when
yeah.
you go out, you're probably going to
Yeah.
notice there's a lot of brown cars on the road
Yeah.
because what we're doing is we're tuning our focus to that.
Right.
If you ask me, I have a white car. I'm like, well, there's a lot more white cars. Now, none of us are wrong. It's what we're putting our attention on, what we focus our attention on. You
Right.
probably remember a phrase a long time ago. Wherever our thoughts go, that's where the energy flows. Wherever our thoughts go, that's where the energy flows. Wherever our thoughts go, that's where our energy flows. So if you're thinking about having a positive day, your REC, your reticular activating system, RAS, I call it, is focusing on what your subconscious is saying, oh, gee, I want to focus on that today. Even if it's a great day and there's lots of abundance, and you're like, oh, I'm never going to find anything. There's just no business out there.
That kind of kills it there, right there.
You just shut the blinders down
Yeah.
to that whole concept. There was a great technique I learned a while back. You could take a bottle of water, and in that water, just a plain bottle of water, you take a piece of paper and you write your name on that piece of paper, your full name, and you write down what you want. You fold up the paper. You put the paper into the bottle. You shake the bottle. The water, and you put salt in the bottle, a little bit of salt. And you roll the bottle with the salt and the paper, and the salt cleanses it. And you basically speak like a prayer to it that, wherever my name is said, negativity will not be any. Wherever
That's good.
my name is spelled, is seen, is thought of, I will be brought into favor.
Amen.
Wherever my name is brought, I will be brought into favor through the power of God, Lord Jesus Christ, whatever you believe. But I'll say the universe, so some people may not believe, and I don't force them to believe, but I will tell you, for me, it's Jesus, because I'm Roman Catholic. But I'll tell you that this thing is a way of life. It's not something you do. It's not a quick fix.
Right.
So one of the things I teach a lot of my clients, I'm like, look, so let's say you're looking for some extra money. I say, look, hey, universe, you don't want to say, universe, I need that money. Okay, I'll keep giving you more you need. I'll keep making sure you need money. You got it. Don't worry about it. I'll keep making sure you need money. You don't want to do that. You want to say, hey, universe, it's me, it's John down here. How are you? Listen, I know you're really busy up there. I'm sure you probably forgot. I'm expecting great things from you, including an extra $5,000 right now. And I thank you for that.
I claim it.
Gratitude. Yeah.
We got
Gratitude.
like a minute or two left. Where can people find you for some of these great philosophies?
So they can go to a very simple place. I actually have it up, believemeachieve.com. But what I tell people I do, so I am a podcast host and I'm a podcast coach. And
Awesome.
I love to help businesses share the story so that they can scale and be more profitable. And I do this from the core of what something is. When somebody says to me, hey, John, what if you just change these words to say we're the best? I was like, well, are you? No. Well, I'm not going to do that. And I won't do that for any amount of money. Go to believemeachieve.com. And when you start believing, you're going to start to notice little tiny miracles starting to pop up in your life. But be grateful for those, because those miracles will cause larger miracles to arise in your life.
I love it. I
believe
need
it.
some believemeachieve.com myself. Look, I need some.
I believe it. Y'all need to follow John C. Morley, and thank you so
definitely
much for
follow
coming
my
on.
TikTok too, JCM Academy TikTok, but it's all on that page. You can catch my in fact, every Friday we release a Science Fridays with John. We also release a Super Motivational Friday. On Mondays we do a JCM Academy coaching, and we produce about 18 other types of content that gets out every day.
Wow. Well,
So
we'll
there's
make sure
lots
to
of
put
stuff
all
that you
those
guys
links in the
can check
description
out.
box. We'll
What's that?
those links in the description box on the.
They're all going to be, so when you go to believemeachieve.com, that link tree will have everything, including a brand new link that I'm giving out to all my podcast hosts, friends, and whatnot, where they can check out and see some of the tools that I use to make my podcast successful.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys
so
for coming
much.
on.
Yeah,
thank you so much for having me, ladies.
John.
It was truly a privilege and a pleasure.
Thank you.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye, everyone.